Ladies and gentlemen, we have returned from a little bit of a hiatus, 3 weeks now. It feels like the whole world's kind of been turned a lot in the last 3 weeks, but
Yep.
Hi.
Yep.
Here we are. It is Wednesday afternoon. We're recording for Friday night's delivery of West Side Story. This is episode number 9. It feels like we're never going to get to episode 10, but I'm sure we will at some point. My name is Aaron Piper. I am the founder, owner, person of Buried Puck Threads, also part of Cascadia Hockey Podcast. I'm here with my lovely wife, who is my co-owner, main squeeze, full captain, Miss Anya Piper.
Hey there.
She's trying. And then joined as usual on the West Side Story. It wouldn't be West Side Story without one Mr. Dan Brown. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Enjoying some sun out in the backyard. You know, if I got to be stuck at home, might as well and get some vitamin D.
You know what I was thinking? Since you are stuck at home, we should totally do a FaceTime call instead of the audio, and we can see each other, and then it would be like really cool.
Oh yeah, maybe by that time my beard will rival Aaron's. 'Cause, you know,
Maybe.
my facial hair grows fast, and I got to tell you, when nobody has to see me, I'm kind of like, shave today? Nah, not so much.
I don't shave either, so.
The big question, is it policy at your place of employment that you have to keep a shaved face, or is that a personal decision that you make?
Oh, heck no, that is not policy at all. It's a complete personal decision. So yeah, I could definitely grow one. It's just that my beard at about 27 went Kenny Rogers, whereas the rest of my hair seems to be holding its own with kind of a sandy blonde look. So I'll keep that as long as I can.
Well, I mean, obviously, when we first met face to face, well, was that about a month ago now? You noticed that, you know, I've got quite a gray beard going on, so I know how that feels. But I've got gray up top too, so it's all over the place. It's called kids.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yes.
Anyway.
So I'm just on Twitter because I always am on Twitter. I like to peruse, but I don't like to participate very often.
She's a voyeur.
But anyways, have you ever heard of a guy called Guy Flaming, who is
Guy Fleming.
Guy Fleming.
Guy Fleming.
The Pipeline Show?
Yeah.
Okay, is he an NHL guy?
No. Well, no, he's not. He's in Edmonton, but he's not an NHL guy.
A free agent, junior college. Well, anyways, I'm just on Twitter, and he actually did a whole logo for the CHL competition, East West Side, and right now the Seattle Thunderbirds are in the running against the Brandon Wheat Kings about the best logo. So if you have like an hour, because you'll probably miss it and not be able to vote. But anyways, you can go see who the winner was.
Yeah. TPS guy, right? TPS guy? Is that his handle, I believe?
I don't know. TPS_guy.
Yeah. He does a radio show up in Edmonton. We've actually talked before. We used to work in kind of the same organization.
Oh, yeah.
But he does a big radio show that follows junior college, all that sort of stuff.
Well, that's just a fun thing, though, to do just, in this weird time. Doing a logo competition. So right now, as we are talking, Seattle Thunderbirds, how cool is that? West Side, Strong Side.
I like... Go ahead.
At least they're winning something.
Hey,
that's awesome.
Hey, as a Tri-City fan, man, come on. At least they did clinch a playoff spot before the playoffs went bye-bye. Seattle,
Yeah, that's true. It's just been a rough year for the T-Birds.
It has.
But their logo slays even when they put it up against NHL logos and those types of competitions. It's just a solid piece of work.
Their logo is legit, and I got to be honest, it wasn't until a couple weeks ago. I actually have a Seattle Thunderbirds puck sitting right here on my desk. I picked it up a few weeks ago at the Showwear Center. I didn't notice that the wings of the bird are hockey sticks.
I just noticed that too. That's pretty rad.
Doy.
That's kind of how I felt when I saw it, to be honest with you. It hit me, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting slow in my old age, man.
Well, I'm always slow, so, I mean, I'm okay.
I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, way back in the day, they used to sell the heat seal jersey patches in the Showwear Center spot, and I was down there serving jury duty, picked one up, slapped it on the back of a messenger bag, and I've had more comments. People are like, where do I get that?
That's awesome.
Showwear Center, it's and it stayed on pretty well, but it is a freaking awesome logo.
It
Even if you
is.
don't like the birds, you gotta like that logo.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Brandon Winkeys logo that they're up against, and I'm like,
Oh, I like the
They
Wheat
better
Kings.
not win.
The Wheat Kings logo is classic. It's
Okay.
been pretty much the same thing for the last 50 years or whatever they've been a team.
okay, but that's rad.
Yeah. I would say that Seattle and Everett are probably my two favorite.
Everett, really?
Yeah, I like the Tips logo. I really do. The bear logo, not the one they did a couple years ago for their 15th anniversary. I wasn't a
it
big
looked
fan
too
of that
gangster for me. The E, right? Is that what you're talking
one. It was kind
about?
of old English lettering.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
boo.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan? You got fandom for both of them. Which one? You going to take the birds over the Tips?
I'd take the birds over almost any logo because it's just really well done, really balanced, really nice looking. It's kind of like I'd say the Flyers logo, or the Red Wings, something like that, where you don't need to change much because I got it right the first time.
Sure.
The silver tips, I kind of like the E.
Really?
I like the
Oh,
E.
yeah?
Yeah, I like the E. I think it was Hockey News, not that that's a venerable institution anymore.
Not anymore.
But they had a poll somewhere up in there, and both logos ended up fairly high. But they like the E as well.
Cool.
But I don't know.
I'm staring at the E right now, and I'm like, it looks like they're trying to be gangster, but they can't quite do it.
It's old English. It's not gangster. There's nothing gangster about Everett. So
No.
I don't know, man. They got a pretty big meth trade.
hey,
I got to say, my family's been out there while I've been playing hockey on a Sunday night, and had a dude with a chain wrapped around a brick, dragging it through the street,
What the
talking
fuck?
to himself.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, so they got some pretty bad tweakers out there, and Angel of the Winds sits right on the strip that has all the bail bonds places.
okay.
So
Okay. Maybe they're
I
a little
think-
gangster.
yeah, I think Everett's got a little gangsta cred. Not Mukilteo maybe, but Everett for sure.
For those of you that don't know the places we're talking about right now, get with it. Come on now, for real. No, Thunderbirds definitely very much encapsulate Seattle and hockey in Seattle in all
sure.
ways. So good for them. It'll probably be over before this airs, but if you had a chance to check it out, vote for your favorite one. So
Yeah. Yeah. We'll find out, or at least go and look at Guy Fleming and find out the winner who won. Because
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the Thunderbirds won. That'd be so awesome.
TPS_Guy. He's a good guy. Let's talk, while we're here, let's talk WHL. Obviously.
He's a good guy.
Who?
Sorry.
Oh dear. We'll be here all week, folks. Shit, we're off the rails now. We don't get off the rails much on this show. That's pretty fun.
You know why it is because we don't give a fuck. We're
That's-
sitting here drinking some whiskey.
We are. We told Dan that we would send him a virtual drink at some point. So, I did want to talk a little bit. I think the last time we had our conversation was 3 weeks ago, and I believe at that point the WHL had just canceled the regular season at that point, and they were waiting, and now it's like everything's been canceled. Everybody's gone home.
Boo.
No Memorial Cup, which I do have to say, and this is kind of getting off of West Side a little bit, but I'm kind of bummed for Kelowna because the Memorial Cup committee was like, yeah, and you didn't get it this year and you can't have it next year. We're going to put you back into the rotation for 3 years down the road. So
That's
yeah.
bummer.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of messed up because of the situation, because this is all unprecedented. I would have given it to
Well,
them
maybe
next
because
year.
they were so bad, they were like, we're not going to take the risk of that.
That's true. The CHL was like, phew, I'm glad we didn't have to deal with that one. So
Yeah, it's pretty bad for Kelowna. It's I was just reading a thing like 72% of folks were saying they wouldn't go back into arenas until there's a vaccine.
oh wow.
For Corona and stuff like that. So there's a poll that I think USA Today ran that, or one of the other
Interesting.
national news spots. Excuse my dog in the background.
Oh,
No
no
worries,
worries.
man.
He's getting territorial, but like, it's not just Kelowna. It's going to be interesting to see how people go back to the rinks and
Yeah.
when and if Kelowna gets that back. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
So
I'm
we'll
going to be
see.
honest with you. I have no problem going. So
Yeah.
I'm ready. The minute they open, I'm like, I'm there.
For real. I'm going to be like the person at the front of the line on Black Friday morning. So, and I've never done that before in my life.
Even if I have to wear my hazmat suit, I'm okay with that.
Are you gonna go all Belarusian?
Hell yeah.
Belarusian and say, "Hey, caution to the wind. I'm going."
You're lucky
That's
I
all
put
there is.
clothes on for this one. So
Yeah, you know what? I'm a well-bodied, able, healthy, active. I'm good. If I get it, I'll just, quarantine myself.
anyway, that is neither here nor there.
You're gonna throw on your dress sweatpants to go out.
Yeah. It's so funny. I see that. I saw a meme the other day that was like a girl getting all dolled up and pretty and get her purse and her makeup and her hair. And then a video of her walking out to her trash can to pull it up.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm glad
Totally.
I'm not that vain where I have to get all prettied up. I usually go with jeans and a t-shirt and I barely wear makeup. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was even as 20-year anniversary on April Fool's
wait,
Day.
your guys is?
Yeah,
Oh, congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, she's been putting up with my shit for a long time.
That's
But
awesome. 20 years
I
is
told her-
amazing.
I told her I'd put on my dress sweatpants because when you're home, it's like, what am I doing? Actually putting on a belt?
For real.
There's no reason. There's no
Yeah.
reason for that.
I have not worn sweatpants for like at this many days in a row for a long time. So
You know what though? I have to say,
College.
college, nothing's changed for me. I wake up and I get dressed every day.
she does because she's the responsible one that says I've got to have that sort of routine to keep me going. And you know what? I get that.
I'm
I
a
get
very
that.
routine oriented person, and like all of this like changing is like messing up in my personal zen, I guess. So like there's a few things I can control. I can wake up, I can put clothes on, I can
Yep.
put my pants on.
Yep.
Right.
So
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of, I learned something interesting. This is way off topic. I wasn't even planning on talking about this. With Kelowna losing the Memorial Cup this year, they would have lost the Memorial Cup in real life too if they played
You know
for
what?
it.
It would have been funny to see them win it.
It would have been. However, I was always under the impression that the Canadian Hockey League would never allow the Memorial Cup to be hosted in the U.S., and that is not true. The Spokane Chiefs actually hosted the Memorial Cup several years ago, but it has been played for in the U.S.
Well, why did you think that?
Because of things I've been told from some people that they
Okay.
just don't come here because not the dollar or however. I don't know. I don't know what the reasons were, but it won't come to Tri-City. I'll tell you that. Way too small of a market.
I agree with that.
But anyway,
But if it came to Seattle or Portland or Everett, I don't think it would go to Everett.
could go to Everett. Great
But it
arena.
went to Spokane, you said.
Went
and
to
that's not a very big market.
Spokane has the largest arena in the U.S.
But Portland could play at the Moda.
Could play at the Moda,
So
but
they could
that
win
would
it.
be a scheduling nightmare because you're right in the middle of NBA playoffs at that point. So
True.
anyway, sorry, rambled. Fun fact: WHL. Recently, the NHL Central Scouting came out with their final report of the season, and there were 2 Americans that were listed there in the midterm that are no longer there. Surprise, surprise. But Seattle and Everett did quite well for
They
themselves.
had a lot of players there, didn't they?
They did. Dan, I will name it off. I told you I would take care of this, but any names that you saw that you said, yep, I agree. Yep, I agree.
I think for the majority of the folks on the Silvertips and certainly what's guy's name?
Gonsalves.
Lida. Yeah,
Oh.
Gonsalves. I was thinking for Lida for the Birds, that wasn't a big surprise. I mean, he's ranked number 26 in the draft rankings for goalies.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
That was no big surprise. The other folks on the T-Birds. Yeah, I could see it. Not a huge surprise, but I would say the Silvertips. I was just like, yep, and yep.
Yep.
Some of those folks came down a little bit later from like trades with Swift Current and things like that. But but not a bad showing for the Everett Silvertips, who've been strong all season.
Gage Gonsalves, I feel like he's always on the ice. I feel like he is involved in every play out there, and he's been a very, very fun 17-year-old to watch this year. It's going to be interesting. Kubicek from Seattle was one that I felt was kind of a grinder out there who had some talent as well.
That name is fun to say.
Kubicek. Reminds me of, I feel like I want to watch The Shining with Stanley Kubrick's The Shining when I hear Kubicek.
Yeah.
All good players. A couple of the guys, Gut or Gut, however you say it, from Everett. I always, Gut and Butt, because there's a Dawson Butt there as well in Everett.
Yeah.
Sealy and I think you pronounce it Puccio. I
think it's Puccio.
Puccio. Okay. Those two I'm not super familiar with. But the other two I am. It's just kind of cool to really see Everett and Seattle. The other one that we really didn't put on this list because we don't talk a whole lot about it. We will actually later in this episode. We're going to air a interview I did with Chad Balcom, who's a Portland Winterhawk fan who also does some podcasting and stuff. But anyway, we talked a lot on that podcast about Seth Jarvis. That kid.
I love that kid.
He's ranked like number 11 overall for North American skaters. And just one hell of a talent, man. He will definitely go first round. He was fun to watch. So it's just really cool once again to see the U.S. really, really, really pumping out some talent. We had that U.S. prospects draft happen a couple weeks ago, which was cool. So 44 of the top U.S. prospects were taken that day. Tri-City took a couple of guys from the Junior Sharks organization. We actually had a local kid from here in our area from a little place called Burbank, Washington, which if you're familiar with the Tri-Cities, you'll realize Burbank is just this tiny little redneck area.
It's like 5 people.
Yeah, it was like 5 people that live there. And there was a kid from there that got picked up by Regina, I believe. So congrats to him. But yeah, it's been interesting. I have not heard any updates recently. At this point, I believe that the Bantam draft is supposed to happen April 25th, I believe. It's going to be a virtual.
Yeah.
Well, they've already said that.
Yeah.
So I don't think we mentioned, what's his name? Connor Bedard got exceptional status.
I know. That's so crazy.
So
we didn't even mention that on Cascadia. I don't think
we did the first kid ever in the WHL to get exceptional.
Crazy. I can't get behind it. I just can't, because all I could see is my little 15-year-old kid playing against 20-year-old men. I could not get behind that.
I don't know, man. Bedard kind of earned it, so I can see your point, but
Yeah.
A 20-year-old man. There is a big difference between 15-year-old kids and 20-year-old men, though. But
I do have to say,
can hold his own.
I do have to say too that I think there is enough respect of the game in the WHL or CHL or whatever that 20-year-olds don't go and pick fights with 15 or 16-year-olds. That just doesn't happen.
Well, but on the flip side of that, a lot of times 16-year-olds will pick fights with 20-year-olds. To try to prove themselves, depending on...
Wait, do you have an example? Because I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah. Several years ago, there was a player named Montana Onabiuchi.
Love that name, too. That's fun.
Who he actually just finished his WHL career this year with the Kamloops Blazers. He's been with them for the last couple of years, but as a 20-year-old. But probably 4 seasons ago, as a 16, 17-year-old, he decided to pick a fight with Dalton York as a 20-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
And now Onabiuchi can handle his own at this point. He got his ass kicked in that one.
Really?
But he made a name for himself
but York
as a tough
did
guy.
it? York did beat the crap out of him?
Yorkie beat the shit out of him. So
York was fun to watch.
Do you remember Onabiuchi, Dan?
I don't.
He was...
Not much.
You said Blazers?
Well, he finished with the Blazers, but he was with Everett at that point.
Okay.
So that was a few seasons ago. But anyway, yeah, so Connor Bedard will be a Regina Pat. So that's interesting. The AMs actually moved down a spot in the Bantam draft. So that was kind of the final knife in the back of the Americans for this season. But anyway... it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a lot of talent continue to move on. Wyatt Wiley, I don't know if we mentioned, but he actually signed his entry-level contract with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, go Flyers!
That he did.
Not only does he play for the Everett Silvertips, but he is also from Everett, which I think is a really cool story. So good for him, local kid. It'll be interesting.
Then there was Kendop and Christensen, who also signed their entry levels with the Ducks and the Blue Jackets, respectively.
Very well earned, very well deserved.
Not a bad season for the Everett Silvertips. It's kind of a bummer that they couldn't, with everything out, they couldn't make their run into the playoffs, because it seems like it would have been a deep one. And the 1-2 that they had just before the end of it here, just before the rug got pulled out from under them with the Winterhawks, I was looking forward to hopefully seeing a pretty dicey, pretty hard-fought matchup if they saw each other in the playoffs.
That would have been interesting, because we mentioned it a little bit on Cascadia the other day, but whoever would have finished second would have taken on Spokane in the first round, and Spokane got really scary good. They started getting really hot there as the stretch was going on, and that could have been an interesting series, because everybody, I think, wanted to see Everett and Portland in the conference final. Or definitely at least second round.
Who would have won? Everett and Portland. Who would have won? And what do you think it would have been?
It would have gone to Game 7. I can almost guarantee you that. I don't know who would have won. I don't.
Okay, so my only question is, Everett had Portland's number this year, right?
Yeah. Wait, or was it the other way around?
I can't remember now.
I think it was Portland had Everett's number a little bit, but all those games, as I remember, all those games were, just about one goal affairs.
Yeah.
Except for, although Everett, the last game that they played the week before you guys came to town, they played the Winterhawks in Everett and just opened up a can on them. So
nice. Oh yeah, I think Wolf had a shutout or whatever. That game's like a 5-0 or something.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was very, very good. There was a whole lot of, I was at that one, and there was a whole lot of cheering in the arena there for Everett. But yeah, I think it would have gone to Game 7. My money would have been on Everett, not because I'm an Everett fan, but just because of the grit that they were showing in that game. I think they would have carried that with them into the playoffs, and they didn't like sitting in the number 2 spot. Nobody in that organization wanted to be in the number 2 spot behind the Winterhawks.
Yeah. A lot of pride on the line. So I love that. I love the U.S. rivalry, especially those two, and Everett and Seattle. It's always fun. So I wanted to move on a little bit. Dan, you're kind of our book guy, which you've been putting some really good stuff out there with All Beard, No Teeth. Looking at some things for our, are you calling it pandemic reading or quarantine reading, or?
It's Hockey by the Book, the pandemic edition. Each week is a new volume. Usually it's a couple of books. This past week I just did Sean Avery. I don't know if it's been published yet. But, Sean Avery, as much as I think he's...
an asshole?
You could say that, but I just... he's the guy that you love to have on your team, but hate to play against. And as a longtime Ranger, and me as a longtime Islanders fan, I just think he's got some brother's got some issues. His book's a fun read though. Ice Capades. And he's just an interesting guy, even if you don't like him, and I don't. To wit, when I was writing for the Morning Skate, he was standing on a street in Long Island goading an Islanders fan. I was like, are you trying to... I wrote a whole article about how he was trying to work his way into relevance again.
Yes, that's when he was calling out the Islanders fans for their take on the Tavares deal.
Yeah, and I just like, okay, you got to keep your name. You got to keep your name in the limelight somehow. So here's how you do it. And he did that multiple times. But that said, that book is it's an interesting read. He's an interesting guy. I'm not sure I'd want to hang out with him because I find some of his ethics questionable.
Yeah.
But it's entertaining. He's complex, intern at Vogue, worked in the fashion industry, worked as a model. He's got levels. He's a little bit like an onion, and not in the way that makes you want to cry. At least not the way that makes me want to cry.
In the same way that ogres have layers. So.
Yeah, you could say that.
Interesting. What else have you been reading recently?
There's a couple of things. that are really good that I read a while ago and talked about a while ago on All Beard No Teeth, which was Beartown.
Yes.
And Us Against You. Both of those are great fictional reads about hockey that are the character development in them, even if you don't like hockey, character development in them is just incredible. So those are good reads. There's another book called Everyday Hockey Heroes. It's Ron. Is it Ron McLean?
Okay, yeah.
I'm getting it mixed up because there's also the Hometown Hockey book by Ron McLean. Those are both great reads as well. Just talking about, sometimes it's your beer leaguers, sometimes it's not. Just people who love the game, which is kind of nice to read about now because we're all in the same boat. People buying rollerblades that maybe haven't had them before, or sending their videos into Hockey Sauce Kit and stuff like that to show their skills since they can't get out on the ice, and since it's such a social game, it's some of these reads are kind of nice to just realize, there's a lot of people out there for the same reason that we're here talking, right?
Yeah.
What do we got to talk about when there's nothing going on? We still got hockey to talk about, and people want to listen to it, at least 7 or so of them.
7, maybe 8 sometimes.
I'm 4 of those people with different names that I download.
Gosh darn it! Now you ruined the allure.
That's making a little bit more sense. Oh man!
But yeah, there's a ton of stuff out there. There's a ton of stuff out there to read. Home Ice is a great read by Angie Abdu.
Yes, that was a good one.
Which is Confessions of a Reluctant Hockey Mom. Anybody who's ever been a hockey parent will get a lot of what she's talking about, and hopefully we'll have her on to chat about that sometime in the near future.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's all stuff that's either sitting on my bookshelf or sitting on my bedside table. So
I still have to finish reading When It Mattered Most. I need to get into that because especially with everything going on this day and age. I do want to transition a little bit. Like I said, we're gonna our talking part's gonna be a little shorter today, just because we have a 40 to 45 minute long interview. This is gonna be a very long. This will probably be the longest episode Cascadia Hockey's ever put out. But I did want to talk a little bit about women's hockey. We have a very big piece of news that we'll get to in just a second. At least I think it's a very big piece of news. But female players have really, really been interacting with fans over the last couple of weeks, trying to keep people involved. Talk to me, Dan, a little bit about especially like Kayla or Kyla? I'm so sorry.
Oh, Kyla J. Lane from Women's Hockey Life. Well, first off, let me back up and say all these episodes are long because you started doing a podcast with me.
That's true.
A lot of hot air pent up inside. Kyla runs Women's Hockey Life, which they have a bunch of workout videos, stick handling videos, and they've been putting them out as soon as players started to go into lockdown for Corona. They started pumping out this content, and they're still out there. They've had a couple of little contests that they've run. Lindsay Fry, who's not affiliated with him, but is affiliated and employed by the Phoenix Coyotes, which, by the way, I think the last time we recorded, and maybe it was the time before that, they had just done the PWHPA stop in Phoenix where she played with the Coyotes players, the alumni like Shane Doan and those guys.
Yeah.
It's out there on YouTube. It's a pretty fun watch. She is an incredible skater and stick handler and such, and she's been pumping out content, and all of these folks are answering questions and just using their platform to mentor the young female hockey players or the young male hockey players or the old male hockey players or female hockey players for that matter. I mean, they're focused on the youth and bringing the girls up and empowering them, but there's been a whole lot of good content, mostly out on Twitter, some of it out on Instagram. So if you want to shake the dust off and improve your stick handling skills before you get back out on the ice, again, not that I'm hinting at someone who hasn't gotten out on the ice in a while, grab a stick and a golf ball or a tennis ball and check out some of these videos and get out there.
I love it. I love it. Keep us all active right now. It's good for the mental health as well.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, I'm pretty sure we mentioned it last time, but WUFA has done a really good job about putting, workouts in their Instagram stories for people. And I know it's, for the female hockey players involved with that organization, but I look at some of those workouts and I'm like, that's going to kick my ass. So,
Oh yeah. Some of those workouts that our kids do are just killer. Penny's been working out not so much with hockey. We broke out the sauce kit a little bit, and play around, but she's been getting her own workouts in. Woofa's been putting out a bunch of good stuff, and I've done a couple of those workouts and ended up, thinking I was going to have cardiac arrest. So apparently,
that's a good workout.
Apparently, my base level of fitness is not what I thought it was.
Well, that's good. Obviously, the boys are doing it. Pretty much every league's got something going on to keep them, the fans and the players connected. So it's really good to see the female players doing it as well. Here was the
one other.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. One other thing I wanted to throw out there in regard to female hockey is the Haley Wickenhauser, who Hall of Fame level player, banded together with Ryan Reynolds. That Ryan Reynolds, to start putting together funds to get
that's so awesome.
PPE, so personal protective equipment, out to the people that needed it in Toronto, and Canadian Tire just stepped up with a $5 million donation to that.
That's awesome.
And then makes me proud to be a hockey player and affiliated with the game to have watched Bauer just say, hey, we've shifted all of our manufacturing into putting out these masks. And by the way, here's how you make them. So if you've got the ability to manufacture them, do it.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
just to see people pick that up, and for Bauer and Sparks, went into mass production with those right away too. But it was just made me proud. There's that social aspect of hockey that doesn't get talked about very often.
Yeah.
But hockey people are usually good people, and those are kind of some of those highlights for me. The positive note while we're all sitting at home waiting to get back out on the ice, or at least get to the rink.
For sure. There's a lot of really good stuff out there. Anya and I have been playing around with the sauce kit and stuff too. We've turned our upstairs hardwood floors into a makeshift hockey rink. So it's been fun. But yeah, these companies that have stepped up are great. And for me personally, I'm weeding out the companies that I will support post whatever this is, and the companies that I feel like have dropped the ball. So,
oh, for sure.
That's the cool part about capitalism, is you get to choose. So,
absolutely.
What I did want to say, this to me was the biggest piece of news that's come out in the last week and a half, minus all the current events going on. But I'm going to give it to you, babe. This is big. This is big. Tell us what's going on with the Swiss League.
So it'd be funny.
She's going to give us an anecdote story. Yeah.
What if you were talking about Dan?
We've got boundaries established. So
I just like, how do you know that I'm the babe?
We've got smart listeners.
You would hope. Anyways, no, I'm super excited. So I think this is perfect time to close it out.
Yeah.
The end with this is Florence Schelling. If I spelled or said her name wrong, I am horrible, but whatever, has been named the general manager of the National League in Switzerland men's National League, which is so awesome. It's a top level men's professional hockey.
Yeah, it's SC Bern.
Yeah, the team.
Switzerland, the team, in the National League of Switzerland.
So
awesome.
The first female general manager of a men's sports team.
Ever. And that's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah. It is pretty amazing and long deserved. As more and more women come into sports, the San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
People are putting the right people in the right job, as opposed to just it being a good old boys club. So this is
absolutely
incredible news.
I don't know much about her though. So
didn't she play though? She also played for a men's team.
A long-time goaltender for the Swiss national women's team, which is awesome.
National women's team. Okay.
Yeah, she's a Zurich native. So I mean, she did that, and
but she's only 31 years old.
I know, and that's what, because when I heard and I saw, I was like, cool. And then I went and oh my God, she's 31. So she's younger than I am, and she's been to the Sochi Olympics, and she was the tournament tournament. I can't say that word today.
On
Tournament.
The tournament?
Tournament MVP for the 2014 Sochi Olympics.
That's awesome.
So I mean, just
goaltender, right?
Yes, and she retired from professional hockey in 2018. So it's like what a perfect timing for her to come and step in and be a general manager of a hockey team, a professional hockey team, and it's like the big ones. So
yeah,
we were pretty stoked around here because we have a lot of Northeastern representation, which is where she went to school.
Okay.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, one of our most successful coach, Anne Marie Dion, last year, she coaches our 12U AA team that just kind of cleaned up. She went to Northeastern as well. They didn't cross over, but she was glad to hear that because Schelling went to Northeastern. The thing that struck me about Schelling is she's 31. And she played in 11 world championships.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
Like she's been killing it for a long, long time as a goalie.
Yeah, and I think too is if you think about it, like she's actually not only is she doing this so young, but she's gonna be paving the way for positions like this to be given the opportunity to all the other females that are coming in her wake. So she's going to be like an idol. She's setting the example that it can be done. I mean, I think it's a lot of pressure. I mean, just a lot of pressure because I know there are some people out there that can be like, oh, well, let's see how she fails.
A lot of people are going to be waiting for her to fail. And for all you people, fuck off.
Oh, I agree. I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's just amazing, like to see, and just that she's setting the precedent for what is the future of females in this hockey world.
Yep.
Yeah, she. I don't know if you guys knew, but Essie Barron was they won the national championship in 2019.
Nice.
So you talk about pressure. They finished ninth of 12 this year. So she's taken a team that's in the bottom third of the tables that had just won a national championship the year before. and then she's got to dig it out of that. I mean, pressure on top of pressure on top of pressure, which to me makes the choice of her as the GM all that much more meaningful that she gets to go do this. Because it's like, yeah, this is the person that we want to dig out of our hole. The other guy won 3 titles with us between 2015 and 2019, but we've just taken a fall, and here's who we want to pick us back up again. So really remarkable news coming out of Sweden for sure.
I know. It's going to be fun to watch.
So on that note, I tell you what, we're not gonna do the Chad interview. I don't want to bury that because I want to end on this note. I think this was a really good piece of news in a world where there's a lot of negative right now. That to me was an incredible piece of news. So Chad's interview, we'll post that as a standalone next week. Like I said, it was done several weeks. Well, not several. It was done a few weeks ago while the season was still going on, but right as things were starting to shut down. And it's very relevant to the future of the Portland Winterhawks, the future of the U.S. division. We don't talk Portland a whole lot because I don't think Dan can stand Portland.
I can talk Portland if we want to.
No,
it's just too many things to cover in a day job and parenting to boot.
Would you consider Portland East Side or West Side?
Absolutely, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything west of the Cascades to me is West Side. So that'd be kind of Kelowna, maybe Prince George, although that's pretty far out there. Like, maybe I should expand my coverage and do a little bit more because we've just concentrated on the west side of Washington State.
Well,
but we focus a lot on the U.S. division too, because I mean, not to be naysayer or not to be down or anything, but hockey in Canada gets a lot of coverage. So teams like Kelowna, Kamloops, Victoria, Vancouver. They get a lot of love. They get a lot of coverage, which rightfully so. I mean, a lot of rich tradition in those areas. And I love the BC division. I love all the organizations involved there, but
I love the U.S. division more.
Yep, I do too. And I think the U.S. division, as much as it's a strong division, it's still in the world of the CHL. It's still trying to puff itself up, to show
and find their way.
Sometimes, yeah.
All right, great call out. I'll start covering Portland. Too. How about that?
You don't have.
It's aspirational. So next, when the season starts up again, let's give Portland some love too. Let's not be, the stodgy Seattleites who think that they're better than Portland.
Well, I'm still iffy
we
about
covered
Portland.
Rose City.
I know.
That's true.
We covered Rose City and defended them against Mike Johnston.
I'm still iffy. I'm on the fence about it, and we'll see how it all plays out once everything opens up.
You're talking about the Rose City.
Yes, the
thing.
Rose
Yeah.
City, and
Yeah.
then Portland stepping in. They're acting like we're the big guys.
Right. When she says she's on the fence, that's what she's talking about. Like with how the Winterhawks have handled the whole thing.
So we'll see how it plays out, because if it is, then all I'm going to do is come on here and bash Portland.
Well, yeah. I didn't say covering meant that we were going to say good things about them.
True.
I just said
Okay,
we
I can get behind
cover
that.
them.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So we'll do that. We'll put Chad's interview out next week as kind of a standalone thing. That will give us another 2 weeks off before we do our next episode of West Side Story. This was a good one, guys. This was fun. We're going to try to be a little bit more prepared with some reading assignments that we have to get another guest on, other people in the works and all that stuff. So stuff's still going on, guys. Everyone listening right now, the content is still out there. Don't forget, the WHL has been doing a great job lately of playing some classic games. Feeds you can usually find on WHL.ca in the evenings.
Yep.
The NHL, all of their NHL.tv content has become free. So that's a great thing. Plenty of books, plenty of movies, plenty of things to do to keep you in love with the game that we all love.
And you can just join us on Cascadia Hockey Club on Facebook, where we talk about all fun things, such as what our discussion was today about Florence Schelling and other things. It's so much fun. We love it. We love to talk. We love a two-way conversation. So join us. We would love to hear your input and who you're rooting for.
Absolutely. Real quick, my mind just went blank, but I'm going to try to bring it back to what I was going to say. Yes, Michael Pelligrini. I wanted to mention, thank you so much for allowing us to use your music. He just dropped a new track not too long ago, which I was kind of hoping that with this whole quarantine thing, the artists would start releasing new stuff, and they have not disappointed. So Michael dropped a new track, so go check it out at his SoundCloud page. He's got some great stuff on there. Really, really Northwest grungy vibe to it. It reminds me of the mid-90s, and I love it. Not to say that it's not progressive. It's good stuff. But it's just...
It's evocative.
Exactly. It's like putting on a trusted flannel. I'm sorry I went there, but I did. So... Anyway, so he's our opening and closing track. So once again, check him out, M. Pelligrini, on SoundCloud. And then, Dan, I always forget, what is his Twitter handle?
His Twitter handle is M. Pelligrini.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh, cool.
I think it's, there's two Michaels that I know that I play with, and I believe his is M. Pelligrini.
Okay, cool. So just check him out. He does some good stuff. So thank you once again, Michael, for allowing us to use your stuff. Babe, any parting words?
No, I have been spreading my feed with lots of positivity and hockey. That's what I want to see. I want to see all the hockey. So I go on Twitter at Anya Piper, and if you're a hockey person, share me all your hockey love, all your hockey pictures. I love it so much. So just want to spread love and happiness.
Dan, any parting wisdom?
Just be good to each other. We're all in this together. I know it's been become a little bit cliche, but it's more literal than it's ever been. So I say just be nice to each other, be good to each other, spread the positive vibes, as Anya was just saying, and shake off the dust. Go do whatever it is that makes you happy. If that's reading a book, go do it. If that's getting outside with the hockey sauce kit, go do it. Just do those things that make you happy, and be around those people that make you happy when you can. Because if you're stuck with your family or friends and you hate them, I'm sorry, you're stuck.
It's going to be long days.
Make the best of every situation. And I'm sorry if you're under 21, put your earmuffs on right now. But for those of us that are over 21, it is okay to have a day drink, just so you know. Just do it responsibly. With that...
Or two.
With that, Oh, cool. She didn't add the or 3. I was going to have to shut her down there. We're going to say peace out. We'll see you guys again in 2 weeks. Keep checking us out on this, on everywhere we are, the social medias, all that stuff. Feel free to send us a line. Tell us we suck. Tell us you love us. Tell us what we can do better. We might do it. We might not. Who knows? But hey,
Or we just won't give a fuck.
at least somebody's on the other end listening. So with that, I'm going to say out.
Oh, bye. We should say bye.
Sure.
Okay, bye.
See ya.